Clapton here for another fun afternoon of talking about guitar and stuff with the amazing Kirk Fletcher, who has popped over from his house, which isn't where I thought it was. Is it public knowledge where you live, or is it?
Absolutely.
So,
I live in Switzerland.
How? Why? What, are you married to a Swiss lady or something? Is that what it is?
It's a woman.
It's a woman.
And the music, because I was playing in Switzerland. I was playing in Europe more so than I was playing in the States within the last, few years. So yeah, it just made sense. My daughter was older and, fell in love and.
Well, good for you. I've never been to Switzerland, but I hear it's very nice. It's really expensive, isn't it, Switzerland?
It is very expensive.
Isn't it a slightly naughty tax haven? Do you sort of, get away with a few hidden bank accounts and all that kind of stuff? A lot of gold in bank accounts that you shouldn't tell people about. Anyway.
Anyway. No.
But it's cool. And you have a new album out.
Yes.
Has that been long in the making?
Yes. I started recording it. I recorded it all earlier this year, maybe January, February.
Cool.
And just, sitting on it for a while, trying to figure out what my next move is. What am I going to do? How am I going to release it? What's going to happen? Doing the best I can, with, what I have to work with.
Now, you very kindly gave me a sneak preview of the album, so I've had a chance to listen to it through a few times. There's definitely, it's obviously an album designed to appeal to guitar players. There's some stellar guitar playing on there. All the guitar solos are just that little bit longer, just to get your proper feel.
Yeah.
But what we're going to do today is we're going to probably just listen to a little excerpt from a couple of the tracks that we've got and talk about your influences on those kind of tracks and how you got those kind of tones and all that kind of stuff. And if you guys are liking what you're hearing, obviously we'll put a link in the description below. You can go and listen to the whole album and see what you think. So I want to start with the first track.
Yeah.
And I said to you before, I'm rubbish with track names, so if I just refer to them as the first track or the fourth track or whatever, the first track definitely has, at the beginning, a kind of a Clapton-y vibe to it. But then it kind of does go off into something less Clapton-y, as you go into the track. So tell me about, has he been a big influence on your guitar playing?
Well, he has been a big influence, but it's funny because obviously he's been an influence. I mean, he's amazing. But maybe in a slightly different way than, you might think, because Clapton's life and his musical journey has been as much of an inspiration as his fabulous guitar playing, And what I mean by that is, Clapton seemed to me, from reading biographies and stuff on Clapton, it seems like he kind of was the guitar player, kind of wanting to play the blues and kind of, playing in different bands and working his way through different musical, contexts. And it seems like he kind of developed as a singer, songwriter on the way.
Right.
And that was very inspiring to me.
Have you seen the
oh yeah.
Is it called Life in 12 Bars?
Oh, yeah.
I was surprised how many how he walked away from the whole Yardbirds and even Cream, just purely and simply because he just went, musically it's just not where I want to be.
I wish I had.
It's like here is a ton of cash about to come your way through the Yardbirds kind of first big poppy single, but he's just like, it's not me. And I respected him a lot.
Jeff Beck's kind of like that too, right?
For sure.
Seeing his documentary too.
I think he's even more like that. We were talking to Jennifer Batten when she was over, and she was talking about her time with Jeff, and just going, he won't do anything for the cash. Yeah. It's like, if it's not musically what he wants to do, and I think he's turned away big paydays to just go, it's not my thing.
And that's why we love him even more.
Well, so look, let's have a little listen to this first, maybe the first 30 seconds or so of this track. This is the first track off the album. What's the album called?
The album is called Hold On, and it'll be released October 19th.
Okay, so we're going to sit on this video until either October 19th or just after, and then so right now it should be available. But anyway, let's have a little listen, and then we'll play it for 30 seconds, and you can kind of talk us through. It's so Eric. I'm going to fast forward to the big solo. Here we go. Here comes the wah-wah. And somewhere in there, again, you guys have to go and listen to the track. You do the whole actual, you rip the Layla riff, don't you? And it's just like, it's just in there.
I can't help but try to have a little bit of sense of humor, in there too. It is like, come on, I'm taking a solo that long. And it's like you want to just try and throw the kitchen sink in there in the most humble way,
But I mean, I've always, of all the guitar players that influenced me when I was growing up, his phrasing and his tone is just, well, it's unique. It's so him. So how did you go about, what do you use? And, some of the licks that you're sort of throwing in there that have got that kind of Clapton influence. Can you show us, some of that kind of vibe?
Well, it's funny because I used a 633 amp, Cliff Brown, on the record, and I used this exact pedal setup, just really bare bones.
Yeah, really bare.
The Jan ran the Topanga on that track and an old Vox wah-wah that I don't have with me. And I used a Tele very similar to this one. It was a Rutter's Tele guy in San Diego. And I just turned up that amp is basically based on an old Tweed Pro.
Okay.
With a 12-inch gold speaker, and they're turned up really loud. You know, and me sitting right next to it so I can get like the feedback, on command. But it's basically kind of that. I don't want to be too loud.
No, it can be loud. And were you using because it doesn't sound as bright on the record? Was it still the bridge pickup, or do you think that's just the amp and stuff?
It's that 633 amp and being turned up that loud and right next to it.
It's got a lot of compression, takes some of that top end off of it.
Because the Tweed style, the late 50s, I got that idea from a fantastic guitar player in LA area named Junior Watson. He always played like 59 Tweed Pros and like different cabinet configurations and stuff. So,
well, I guess if you can take a Tweed amplifier and get it all the way up to number 10 and use, there's not a lot of gigs you can do that in, is there, like that? But I guess your other great friend Joe Bonamassa is the same. He's got like 6 of them or whatever, all turned up to 10, like devastating. But the tone is all there. You don't need a lot of pedals when you've got that, that kind of amplifier, that driven. But I mean, in terms of when you're actually going to play like a Clapton riff, or not a riff, but like what do you think it is about what he does that's maybe different to other guitar players?
Well, it was kind of my version of like listening to Clapton and Stevie a little and Doyle Bramhall and those kind of guys, and also, just a lot of, just my version of, all the things I love is what I like to say,
I like the sort of I like the sort of the way that it fits with the vocal as well, you know, so there'll be a line and then there's that down, you know, at the end, just before it gets into the next line of the vocal or whatever.
Yeah.
I always thought Clapton was less, he's a lot less busy than Stevie, isn't he, in the sense of the sort of, I know Stevie does, you know, Stevie's famed for just like those big bends that like it's one note, but it's 1,000 notes, you know.
Yeah.
But then equally, again, he can go off and tear it up as well, whereas, I don't ever really remember Clapton having that in his armory to sort of really tear it up, but he would, so every note kind of counts for something more.
You know, I played, you know, last time I was here, I had the Les Paul.
Yes.
And, you know, the Les Paul really influenced me to play differently.
Right.
It made me, like, maybe even slow down my phrasing and, like, really, you know, hone in on my vibrato even more, and just having that extra sustain, you know, made me play differently. So I tried to carry that over. And the reason why I only played 2 different guitars is because I recorded everything here in the UK in Bristol.
Oh, cool.
My friend Johnny Henderson and Matt Brown. Mm-hmm. You know Johnny Henderson from the Matt Schofield band.
Oh, wow.
And a mate of his named Matt Brown.
Very cool.
Fantastic drummer. So, you know, I was kind of limited on my choices. So I brought 2 guitars that were kind of bulletproof. You know, one Telly style guitar made by Mulan with 2 humbuckers.
Oh, cool.
So the thicker tones were the humbuckers. But on that track, I'm pretty sure I used more of a Telly style, just turned up loud.
It sounds single coil, kind of. It's got that sort of. That's why I thought you were going to say that was a Strat, because I thought it had that almost like that.
I love the
position 4 kind of sound, but like you say, maybe that's the amp so driven it kind of takes a little bit of that top end off of it. And so all the. Again, I think it's fabulous that the pedal board is so simple. I'm a big fan of you know, like small pedal boards. So you've got even though the amp's cranked like crazy, you're still putting the reverb in the front of the amplifier. Yeah,
and I'm driving it on. The beautiful thing about the Topanga is it has like a volume control where you can kind of boost and fatten a little.
Right.
You know, as well as reverb, and then the Jan Ray really retains the amp's characteristics. You know, all the stuff.
All the cool cats use the Jan Ray, don't they?
Yeah, so I love those guys.
What is it about the? Is it just because it's like the most expensive? So you just kind of go,
totally.
That's why I have it. It's just like, you know.
You know, it's funny because I use different things, you know, for different applications. You know, this is just what I wanted to, because I thought I was going to do like basic tracks, you know, in the UK, and then maybe overdub and stuff.
Right.
But no. Of course, it was like the tone. It was the heat of the moment. So
was that a lot of one take stuff on there?
One take for sure. Because
live.
I always jinx myself.
Right.
You know, if I do more than 2 or 3 takes, I always go, okay, now I'm thinking about it.
And you're doing a lot of overdubs on there, or is it just that was it?
No, like a rhythm track, because I don't really sing and play at the same time.
Right.
So, you know, I done some rhythm some rhythm overdub tracks, and that was it.
It did. How you say it? The first track's great, and like you say, you've got the 2-minute guitar solo in there. It's like, yay! Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. So we're going to have a little listen now to the 3rd track on the album, which is way more laid back than the first one, more minimalistic, really kind of lets your voice come across, and the guitar has a different kind of tone in here. Is it a different guitar?
It's a different guitar. It's the Telly style Mulan. Thin line Telly with 2 humbuckers in it.
So we're going to have a little listen to the opening few bars, and then I'll fast forward into the solo as well. So here we go. This is The Answer. It's tasteful. That's tasteful. This has got a Stevie, little Stevie vibe, isn't it? Vibe going on there.
Yeah.
Way more jazzy than Clapton. Is that Luther Vandross doing the vocals on this track?
I wish.
Let's get to the guitar solo. Here we go. Here we go, he says. Here it comes. I like the way it builds. You know, it's a good lesson, I think, for anybody doing guitar solos is let it build, you know.
I'm all shy listening to that.
That's great, man. That listens. There's a definite vibe. The stuff that Stevie Ray Vaughan did with David Bowie when he was playing on those, and it's
pulling out all my secrets now.
That sounds great, and the bit that's freaked me out the most is that none of the guitars are Strats. You know, it's
I only had room for those on the plane.
Well, look, I'm just going to tease the audience now by saying if you want to hear any more of that, you'll have to go and follow the link in the description below. But that's beautiful. So tell me about the sound and I love and again, let's talk about how you build a solo to where you're just kind of like a fishing, like you're just kind of reeling the people in, aren't you? Just so.
Well, that's all.
Yeah. So what? So gear wise and you know what were you?
It's funny because you know it's really to me just plugging in that guitar and the humbuckers making it sound different because it was pretty much the same settings, same everything. Maybe just turn the amp up a little bit on the solo or turn my volume up because I usually just control the level of gain however much I use just from the volume on the guitar. Sort of like the old B.B. King, Albert King way, you know, where they would like, you know, turn the volume up, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, those guys. B.B. King was another just like that. He's the ultimate, I think, in going. I'm just going to play three notes, but every single one's going to like you know take me to the bank and back, basically. But I think personally, I don't think I allow my guitar solos to build in the, you know, I probably go too fast into, but so just
because it's fun.
But take us through that kind of, you know, like the solo you just did there. Like, how would you? How would you kind of build that and just?
Well, that song lends itself. The answer lends itself to really building it up because it's sort of dramatic and it kind of puts Kirk Fletcher in a different place than what he normally would play. Just you know, like maybe straight ahead blues or funk or slow blues. It kind of gives you somewhere else to go. You know, kind of minor, so you can. Just more licks, more note. Well, not licks, really. Ideas, I guess. And just kind of, you know, just it's basically sort of that play something and answer yourself. Play something and answer yourself in slightly a different way. Yeah. Larry Carlton.
That's okay. So when so that technique, when you say play something and answer yourself, you're not talking about like an interaction between a vocal and a guitar. You're literally saying I'm doing a lick, and then I'm kind of you're imagining you're just answering that other lick in a
conversation kind of way. You know, like you play like, and you might play, doing it in a really, basic kind of way. But that's really, it's just, I'm trying to say something and evoke what I'm saying vocally and on the guitar, and just trying to let my emotions out and not really think about exactly what I'm playing. But that just takes time, I guess, and it's every guitar player and singer and musician has a story to tell, and I'm just trying to tell my story a little bit.
I think the setup's just fab. All that's just super simple. Is there we got time to do one more? So what's the if we could just play 20 seconds of the whole album, what's the one that you go, that's the 20 seconds you should hear because it's, I'm tearing it up my finest hour.
It's probably the end of that solo, but also the last solo is sort of like the same kind of slower thing, but maybe just the fade out of the first song too. The end of
the very end of that, that does go super. That goes great at the end.
Hilarious.
Okay. Hold on, we're on the watchtower now. It is. And here comes the Layla stuff, isn't it? Yeah.
Hope I don't get sued. And that's Mahalia Barnes singing the...
You're not doing the double finger. There's like a bit of eruption in there and everything.
All
it's
the
just
blues Nazis are going to kill me.
That's fine. You'll be safe in Switzerland. You'll be fine.
Johnny Henderson and Matt were looking at me, and I had to do something to make them laugh. At
awesome.
The end, and we kept it in.
That's cool. So what else are you going to do with you're going to tour the album? Or?
Yeah, I'm doing some really cool gigs. Bristol Jazz next year, and probably, some other clubs and stuff around, but not a longer tour, maybe kind of 2 different times, you know.
Yeah.
So maybe I could even do a clinic.
Well, absolutely. I mean, we'd love to have you back. I don't know how many of you guys came. We had a couple of hundred people came to the last clinic you did. So,
that was so
100%, we'd love to have you back. It's always a pleasure to have you over, man. Super good luck with the album. As I said, I will put links in the description below where you can find out more about Kirk and go and listen to some of that music.
Thank you so much.
No problem at all. Thank you guys for watching. As ever, round of applause. The wonderful Mr. Kirk Fletcher.
Thank you.